and PhD from the University of California, Berkeley. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. This is my first visit to the Fletcher School, but I feel very comfortable. Partha and I have known each other, what, 35 years? Something like that? You haven't changed much.
I thought I was much younger.
Yeah? You still have your Indian accent. I love it. And Furusawa-san and I have been at Shotsubashi. I have been at Shotsubashi University for 27 years. So it's nice to have him on the podium as well. I've got a couple of my students I will introduce later on. I teach this course called the Microeconomics of Competitiveness with Michael Porter. And last year, 3 of the Fletcher students were in my class. So I will encourage you, if you can. This is half of the students are from the Kennedy School, actually, and only half from the business school. So it's not as competitive. And I will encourage you to apply to that course. So I am going to talk about a project that we are doing at the business school called IXP. This is a course that got started a couple of years ago, but this is the first year in Harvard Business School's 103-year history that we are giving credit to field study. Until now, everything was case method, right? So this is the first year we are giving credit to students for doing a field study overseas. And 2 of your students are my students here because IXP stands for Immersion Experience Program. So the program that we're doing is called Japan IXP. And we have Leo in the back and Jeffrey here who have signed on. In order to become a class, it has to have 15 students. So I think right now we have about 22 or 3. And they have cross-registered. So we will be going to Japan from January 3rd to the 13th to Tohoku. And basically trying to do some relief work and try to understand post-disaster strategy. So this is what I'm going to be talking about. What I'd like to do is show you one more slide. Basically, this is going to be my last slide. I'm going to have only 3 slides. So this is the last slide. So we talked about, how can the business school contribute to post-disaster relief? And we basically said, well, let's archive companies that have done a great job in quick response to the disaster. So we're going to write cases on these 4 companies, and I'm going to talk about them. Leo is in charge of Yamato Transport. Jeffrey, you're in that team too. Right. So students, basically, the 22 students have been divided up into writing a case for one of these companies. And when we go to Tokyo on January 3rd, we will see the CEO of these firms visit their headquarters, do some volunteer work in Sendai, and also visit their local regional operations in order for us to write a case. So we thought, being the business school, our best practice is writing cases. And if we can write cases and leave it in the archives so that other companies can say, oh, this is how you respond so quickly, we thought would be a major contribution to society at large. So I'm going to go through the 4 companies, but they're all going to be pictures. So this is my last slide. Being the last in the group, I thought you guys will fall asleep. So in order not to let you do that, I'm going to show pictures. So Ishinomaki is one of the key areas we will be visiting. And you've seen these photos of Ishinomaki. It's just devastating. This is used to be a port. Look at all the sludge. It's funny that they have a Statue of Liberty in Ishinomaki. By the way, Ishinomaki translates into English as, do you know what? Stone's Growth? No. There's a funnier version of Ishinomaki, yeah?
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll. Ishinomaki, right? Rock and roll. So this is the bright side of Ishinomaki. But look at this. These are two young kids trying to join their parents. This was, I think, in Sashimi. Trying to make their own food, trying to get basics to basically survive. This was the Red Cross Hospital, and these are the workers of the Red Cross Hospital. So, I mean, we talked about the victims, but the people who were working in the hospital they had their relatives and family devastated as well. So this is kind of the background. We are going to go to Ishinomaki. We are going to go to Sendai. But the first company we're going to be writing a case on is Ishinomaki Kowan Byoi. So this is, I don't know if you can read Japanese, but it says Ishinomaki Kowan Byoi. And this is right after the tsunami hit. The surprising result is nobody was injured. It took them 30 minutes to bring the 90 or so patients from the first floor to the third floor. And it's just a surprising, very quick response. So what we're trying to write in the case is, how was this possible? 30 minutes. People moved from the first floor to the third floor. When actually this was happening, right? The pictures are not that good because they were taken by individuals. And the hospital was in operation 7 days after the tsunami. So they had patients coming in to the hospital. On September 1, the hospital reopened completely. So it's taken them 6 months to, less than 6 months to reopen. In 30 hours after the tsunami, one, it was actually a passenger car carrying clothes and water arrived at Ishinomaki Kowan Byoi. So they actually arrived here. Roads were closed, but they basically left the headquarters, no orders from the CEO, and said, we need to go because patients are probably freezing. It turns out when they arrived at the hospital 30 hours later, it was actually the nurses and the doctors who were freezing because they've given all their clothes to the patients. And this is what happened at Ishinomaki. So we're going to write about their recovery story. The second company is Yamato Transport. This is a famous picture that appeared in Asahi Shimbun 13 days after the tsunami with the Kuru Takyubin truck in the middle, if I can operate this right. And again, very quick recovery of their logistics system. They came up with these kinds of cars because unless you had something like a snowmobile, there's no way you can navigate through the sludge. So this is very innovative. This is a very important picture because this person here is from the Japanese National Defense Force, Jietai.